veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
It's a He Says, She Says podcast. Put a ring on it. Season 4, episode 10. I do or I don't. How you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great. I do or I don't. Somebody didn't, but we'll get into that later.
Yes. We'll get into that later. Oh my goodness. Well, you know how some of you menses are, as the women from the South used to say, you menses.
with a capital Z. Matter of fact, 2 Z's.
You menses, y'all. Some of y'all ain't no good.
Lord have mercy.
No good.
Yeah, but it was an interesting episode.
It was. It actually had a lot of details, a lot of proposals, a lot of some tomfoolery going on with some of the couples, but it was definitely interesting though. How's everybody? I hope everybody had a good Tuesday afternoon. Yes, Monique, how are you? Yes. Happy Tuesday.
Hey,
Yes,
Monique King.
Yes, everyone, if you're here right now, go ahead, please, and like the video so that you don't forget later on. You already have that taken care of. So we'll go ahead and get right on into it because it's kind of a long, it's a lot of detail, so it makes it for a long video here. So we open up in the couples session with all 3 of the couples, and Dr. Stacy is coaching basically Ricky and Kat, who say that they've both grown from this process. But the question still remains as we fan out. The question still remains, is it time to move on or what, Alex?
Put a ring on it.
Time to put a ring on it. Yes. And so we see Zay meets up with Catherine's mom. And Catherine's mom, he meets up, and very nicely he gives her a bouquet of flowers, which she quickly looks over and says, okay, did you take one of my flowers to put in your lapel? And he says, no, Mom, count the stems. They're all there. I thought that was cute. And but she begins to tell him how therapy actually helped her and her late husband. What did you think about this scene?
Well, I want to get your thoughts first on this to see what you saw, because I didn't take a whole lot from it, but I'm curious to know what you thought of it.
Well, my first thought was that it was a very chivalrous act that for a man, typically when he asks before he proposes in our country, the custom used to be, and I say used to be because now you got people that just do whatever, but the custom used to be traditionally that a man would go to a woman's father, but we know from the episodes before that Jasmine's father, unfortunately, is deceased. So instead, he went to her mother, I felt like, to ask for her blessing. And she kind of course, had to rib him about, well, oh, you finally gonna do this? Why didn't you do this before? Why didn't you ask her before? Are you getting ready to propose now? And so forth and so on. So she kind of gave him a hard time, which for me, had I been the mother in that situation, I don't think I would have done that. I would have had more sober conversation for him. And then if I believed he was a good man, I would have gave him my blessing.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and that's probably what was probably got me, kind of conflummoxed about the whole thing, because, Jasmine said the whole season.
You say you got the stomach flu. You conflummoxed. What?
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, you getting ready to take your SATs to go to college? Okay, I got you. You're taking those SATs. Okay, yeah. I do that too sometimes. I study those SAT words. Go ahead. Go ahead. Knock yourself
No
out.
man, but it got me kind of funny. But Zay had been playing with Jasmine the last 3 years about getting married and friendship rings or whatever, promise rings and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Just playing with the idea, and
Mm-hmm.
not being serious. So her mother's like, okay, whatever. I mean, she was seemed to be so unmoved by what he was
Ah,
doing because I'm pretty sure she's aware of the game plan.
yeah.
And she may be to a point where she's just over the fact that he's playing with her daughter's emotions, playing with her daughter's feelings, and she's probably just over it, you know, and might be, on the DL, not even rooting for the marriage to some degree.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I didn't take it that she wasn't rooting for them, but to your point, you make a very good point. She's like probably like her daughter because being a mother, I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know Jasmine, but the mother, of course, probably has a good relationship and they talk regularly. So you're right. She was frustrated and just really kind of upset with him, much like her daughter. But the problem, again, I guess I have to say this: the problem is when you get involved in your children's romantic life, that's a problem because they're always going to tell you the things that they want you to know and not their part in it.
Mhm.
And as a mother, so my thing would be, okay, so why give this guy 3 years? But I've got that in my notes. We're gonna talk about that a little later as we get to another couple because I say, why give a man in your youth? And actually, Jasmine is not so youthful. I'm not trying to be funny, but she's not a young girl. She's middle aged.
Mhm.
But why sit up and give a man 3 years? I don't think it takes that long to figure out what you're gonna do at their
Yeah, and
especially at their age because they're not teenagers and they're not even early 20s, so it does not take you 3 years into your 30s to figure out what you want to do.
yeah, the thing about bringing family into your relationship, the arguments and so forth, of course, you only tell them your side of things. They don't get the other side of things.
No.
So when you make up with the person, your family's still mad at them. So this is why you should keep them out of it. You know. So and the other thing is, Jasmine's mother said before, Jasmine has a controlling issue, so she also knows her daughter very well. You know,
Mm,
so she knows her daughter got a controlling issue. She got other issues going on. She's still very, very emotional about her father. She's still holding this, um, maybe a slight grudge that Zay didn't ask her and take her serious about marriage before her father passed. She actually mentioned that she wished she had done that. So there's still some things here that need resolving.
right. You know what? Now that you mention it too, that's the other part of it too that really gets hurtful is that maybe perhaps Jasmine and her mom are still really having a hard time dealing with the fact that now that he seems to be ready to propose, her dad is not there to walk her down the aisle. Her dad is not there, like I was just saying just a moment ago. The custom is to talk to the father to ask for the woman's hand in marriage. Her father is not there for any of that, and I think that's probably pulling up emotions from them that they don't really know what to do with.
Right, right. So that needs some resolution to it. Obviously, there's nothing that can be done about that. Her dad is gone, so Zay just has some ground to make up, and he got to really prove that he's serious. As you know, as the old folks say, do you know what, or get off the pot.
There you go. That's what my Jewish neighbor used to always tell me. Girl, I had to tell my husband back when we was dating. I was in Windsor and he was in Detroit. You gonna either, you know what, get off that pot. And you know what he did? He married her. 30,
Mhm.
40 years later, 3 kids, and great neighbors. Those were great neighbors. I tell you, I miss them. But
Right,
that's it. That's what it is with women. Like women that are wise know that you have to have boundaries. You cannot allow these men to just flip you around any kind of way at their discretion and their disposal. You can't do it. It's not a good thing. But let's see, we'll continue on. So um Zace asked how she would feel. We talked about that. Um And yeah, you're right. Cause I even got a little frustrated because in my notes I said, yeah, he went blah, 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 so on and so forth. So she's not the only one that's frustrated with him. But I thought it was interesting at the end that he did say that his cold feet were almost melted. Did you catch him say that at the end?
Yes, I
Hello?
did. Yeah, I did.
Okay. All
Mhm.
right. All right. So anyway, we move to the next scene. Ricky meets up with Dr. Stacy to discuss Kat's angry blow-ups and pop-offs, as they call them, in their relationship. And Dr. Stacy, interestingly enough, she admits that she used to be the woman that do the pop-offs herself, but she also worked on it and she no longer does that, right?
Right.
Um, the thing I thought was really interesting, and I'm gonna throw it over to you. Ricky refused to admit that they are not ready to be married, and you could hear it in Dr. Stacy's voice because she's asking him very clear cut questions, and she's giving examples of how in her professional opinion she doesn't believe they're ready, but you can just hear him. He continues to say, oh, we're ready, we've been planning to do this for a while now.
Yeah, and we find out. I guess we'll get to it later that they're really not ready. And I keep saying this on both their parts. They're speaking from a place of fear.
Yep.
Ricky's afraid to be without her. She's
Right.
afraid to be without him. But there's no love there. There's not enough care and concern there to build a relationship. That's just fear because
Mm, yep.
people are used to what they're used to. And that's what this relationship is. They're accustomed to each other. 10-year friendship and living together and all this kind of stuff. And that's just what they're used to.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then I go a step further too. I don't know if I heard you say this or not, but the other thing of it is they're not prepared. So there's a preparation that goes with everything major that you do in life, whether you're getting ready to buy a house, and you know about all about that, buying a home, buying a new house, buying a car, going off to college. These are things, major things in your life that require preparation. And you can't sit and just be with somebody and think that because you move in and you're living together that actually means you're prepared. There's a whole financial aspect, there's an emotional aspect, and there's a maturity aspect. But one of the things to what you were saying is, did you catch when Ricky and talking to Dr. Stacy said that he just kind of showed his insecurity about not being a fully actualized man? He talked about that a lot of women wouldn't have been with him because he's not where he wants to be. What did you think of that moment?
Well, I mean, he's being honest. So if you're being honest and you know that about yourself, go and develop yourself. Go and work on yourself. Get yourself together. You're not ready for a woman or a marriage or to build a life with anybody. If you know that, let that woman go do what she need to do. Catherine need to just detach herself from the situation, go back to
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, get herself together, and then they can
Mm-hmm.
figure it out. But they can't do it together. They cannot do it together.
Right. Or even just realize that they really weren't meant to be together in the first place. I mean, because all of this popping off, there's something inside of him that he's doing that's triggering her, and there's something inside of her that's triggered by him. So I think that sometimes we've all run across people that we might like them, we might love them, we might really care very deeply for them over a period of years, but for whatever reason they're not our person. They're just not our person, and sometimes we have to be strong enough as women to accept that and get over all this old romanticized movie crap that we've grown up with in these fairy tales, that because you love a person that you have to put up and tolerate them. I disagree with that line of thinking. I disagree with that.
Yeah, all that, house and white picket fence and the dog and all that, whatever fairy
Oh, no,
tale it
no, no.
is.
I ain't said that part. That's not what I'm disagreeing with, sir.
Well, I am because that's part of the fantasy.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If you're talking about fantasies, yeah, you're right.
Mm.
What I'm saying about I'm disagreeing with specifically is that a lot of women, you hear a lot of women say, "Oh, but I just love him." You can't help who you love. Um, if someone said to you that in order to continue loving this person, you had to give up everything that you own and everything that you would ever own, I bet you'd have a whole different concept about saying you love that person, right? And I don't agree with the whole thing about you can't choose who you love. You can choose who you love, and you definitely can choose who you don't love. Because when you see people are not for you in the beginning, you have to learn. We as women have to learn to walk away. There's a whole lot of men out here playing around, and you see it. You see it. You hear it. They tell you who they are. They show you who they are. But again, we as women sometimes get hooked on the fantasy of love and like falling in love. I believe that love is a commitment, love is a choice. And this whole concept of the falling in love, that's not really what that thing is. Because when you commit to somebody, you choose to love them. So love is a choice.
Well, everything's a choice, and I will also say that kind of goes both ways. A lot of women say they want a certain kind of man. They want a man that does this. They want a man that does that. And when they get that kind of man, they don't know how to handle it. They almost reject it because they can't believe they're getting it. So it's almost like, do you know your value? Do you know your worth? It's like everything
I'm
they
not so
ask
sure.
for.
I'm not so sure if you're saying that women, why does it have to be that they don't know their worth? Maybe they don't want that particular man. That's a choice too.
Well, maybe because that may be true too. But you do hear a lot of them say they maybe they hear older women say it, so they think it's the right thing to say. You know,
Okay.
I want a man that's intentional. I want a man that's caring. I want a man that understands my feelings. I want a man that converses and listens to me, and so forth and so on. And then they get these things and they don't know how to handle it. So maybe it's immaturity. Maybe they never experienced it. It is new to them. I don't know. But sometimes it goes back to that fear thing. I'm getting everything I asked for, but what do I do with it?
Hmm. That's deep because I can see what you're saying in that. Okay. Okay. I can see what you're saying when you put it that way. Wow. Okay. Okay. Um, and yeah, so talking about Ricky and him refusing to see that they're not ready, and then about his being not actualized, like you said. So we move forward. Um, oh, so then Catherine comes to talk, and she talks about this. I don't know that I agree with this whole Smokey thing, but I guess the doctor allowed her to kind of use that as a little bit of a somewhat of a smoke screen, right? So Smokey is her other side. Smokey is her side that pops off. Smokey is her angry woman side that, does all this popping off and talking and whatnot. But then the doctor tells her that for him, so like speaking to him and speaking to a man, and I thought this was really good advice for a lot of us women out there that want to talk and have better communication with our man. She wanted her to affirm him rather than just criticize, to affirm where he's areas where he's good. Like you said, like some men do listen, right?
Yep.
So affirm. Look at you, got your chest all stuck out. Put your chest back. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. One day somebody's gonna buy what you selling. Okay. So
Uh-huh.
but she said, and like I said, I think this is good words. What the good doctor said, affirming what men, where they're good at areas where they're good and where they're trying, rather than criticizing, but also in speaking your truth. Let him know that when this happens, this is how I feel. So in other words, when you do this act of betrayal, I feel betrayed. and this is why I don't trust you and don't love you anymore because you betrayed me, right? So
Uh-huh.
I said, okay, I see where the doctor going with this. These are tools that any woman and any person can use. These were also very empowering, and I think they will help with communication. So can you try that? When this happens, this is how I feel. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Why you put me to the test? Put Ricky to the test.
You're my co-host. I'm saying, go ahead and try it out. See how it feels. When this happens, this is how I feel.
Well, what are you feeling when what happens?
No, no, it's you. You're the one. You're the person that's saying this. I'm asking you to use that sentence.
The one that the doctor used?
Yes, when this happens, but you got to insert what it's like a fill in the blank. When blank
Okay.
happens, this is how I feel, and then you got to insert how you feel.
Oh, okay.
Well, you would
When,
be horrible as a as
when,
a as a client to a therapist.
listen, look, when you scream or yell or holler at me, this is how I feel. Okay.
Okay,
I
how
I
do
fe-
how do you feel?
I feel belittled. You're challenging, my manhood or my authority as the leader. Um, and I don't feel secure.
I'm sorry. Okay. You say what now?
Oh, yeah. See, did you see that laughing? That's belittling. See? So, y'all say you want to know how the man feels and how he embraces his emotions. Do you turn around and laugh? So what are we supposed to do in that regard? How do we go back at that?
That's when you come back. You don't criticize. You affirm me, and then you go ahead and speak your truth. And you say it one more time. You say when you go ahead now. You say it again. Go ahead.
Unbelievable.
You say
He-
when you
he-
laugh.
he-
When you laugh. When you no, listen. Try it out one more time. When you laugh.
Go ahead. When you laugh,
No,
you
it's you.
basically
I want you. Go ahead. You
when
do.
you laugh, that basically reaffirms that you're not concerned or care or take my feelings seriously. That's what
I
that
am
is.
I am speechless. I am speechless. You use the doctor's tools very well. I'm very proud of you, young man. I'm very proud of you. See
Thank
how
you.
empowering. See how empowering that is. Don't you feel more empowered now? You can put your chest back out.
Yeah, I'm walking on the cloud right now. I wish you could see me.
I wish I could too. Uh, Doctor Doctor Stacy, to close this out. Doctor Stacy says that she kind of warns Catherine that she has a lot of work to do, but Catherine deflects by saying that when God tells her thus and such, no one can tell her anything else. And I said, you know what, Lord have mercy. When people start injecting God into their situation, that
Mm.
is a major deflection of what's really going on. Because what's really going on here? Like she doesn't want to listen, and nor does Platts. What's his face?
Ricky,
Ricky. Yeah, he doesn't want to listen. What do you think is really going on with these two?
God is not going to bless a mess. So keep God out of that crap. You have the power of your own decisions. You have free will. If you want to bring God into it, you have a free will, and your free will stinks. You're not making good decisions. And you keep making bad decision after bad decision. Now you want to bring God in it because you don't want to take responsibility or accountability for your decisions. And you want to push it off on God. Really? Is that what we're doing?
Right. That's it. That thank you. That's exactly it. I agree with you. I think that they are trying to push all the responsibility onto an unseen God, and that they're calling God, but there's a lot of things that aren't in alignment even with God. So I'm not really sure how he gets thrown into it after you've made a mess of things. You're gonna throw him in at the end.
Yeah, that's why I say keep him out of it. He's not going to bless a mess. And what they got right now is a big mess.
Right. Yeah. So Jasha. Jasha comes on over to the restaurant and meets up with Joya's dad, who has got over 40 years of experience being married. I love the way Joya's dad basically lays it out real clean and smooth. He really reminds me a lot of my dad. Very not he's not playful. He's straight to the point, and he's a man of few words. But when he speaks, you listen. He tells Jasha that his daughter's biological clock is ticking, and then he also tells them that when two people want to play the same game by the same rules with no substitutions, that's what marriage is.
Mm-hmm. And he tells them as well. He says, I got 12 grandchildren,
Yep.
only one by Joya. So,
So he just, to me, he laid his case out very plain and very clear. Like, if you're not, don't marry my daughter. In other words, if you're not planning on giving her more children, that was what he was saying. That was the
right.
unspoken implication. If you're not planning on willingly giving my daughter more children, then this is not the woman for you because she clearly wants more children.
Yeah, and Jason was saying basically he want to do it the right way. He don't want to impregnate her until they're married and so forth. He want to do the engagement first. He want to plan a wedding. He want to go through that whole thing. He want to do it the right way. But
Yeah,
I,
I agree with him on that. But sometimes all those steps, they those are steps, and they should be in order. I absolutely agree. But you don't have to have all these big gaps in between each step. Like some men, they want to have a 4 or 5 year, 10 year engagement. That's BS. That's
and I
BS.
and I think if you plan on marrying her and she's in a wedding dress with a big old belly, then so be it. You're marrying her. Okay,
My best friend was
the
my best
child's gonna
friend
come into the
married.
world married.
Yeah, would you marry? Yeah, my best friend was. I mean, she wasn't. It really wasn't a big belly, and I actually helped her pick out a dress that actually hid the pregnancy. She was in the early stages, but hey, that happens all the time. They call shotgun weddings for a reason, but no, these two
Right,
people loved each other. But that happens though, especially when, like I said, when people do things out of order, things sometimes happen out of order. That's just the way
right,
that is. So,
right. Yep.
but I did love this scene. I thought that it was a powerful scene between two men, and it was so nice to see that this young man respected the elder's wisdom enough to go to him. Did you think that too, or what were your thoughts?
Well, it's always nice to go to elders for that wisdom, because you mentioned wisdom earlier, and you
Hmm.
mentioned wisdom in regard to, I guess, Ricky, Catherine, or Zay and Jasmine, or whatever. But true wisdom only comes by way of living. Okay, if you're going to acquire it, in the interim, you have to go to your elders for guidance. And so I've always been a fan of that. Going to your elders for guidance, people who live here twice as long as you have, sometimes, 3 times as long as you've been here. Okay. They've seen more, they've done more, they've experienced more. So they have a lot of valuable input to give you. So I never discount elders and what they can advise me to do or not to do. Yeah, eventually I'm gonna do what I want to do, but I always take their guidance and their advice and things very, very seriously.
Right, right. I was just answering the ladies. Yeah. Lovely was saying exactly. Don't string people along. I agree with you, Lovely. Absolutely. Don't
Mm.
string people along. That's right. Dastardly men out there.
There you go.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
This must be the woman's fear. You bashing men over here.
Mm,
The woman's fear.
yeah. Oh, I get what you're saying now. You're funny. You are so funny. Yeah, because you stay over there in the manosphere, so you would know. I don't know anything about it. I don't stay over there in the manosphere. So did I get to Jazz? Yeah, Jazz and Doc Stacy, they meet up, and Jazz says in the confessional that she believes that her and Zay have grown a lot. That remains to be seen. But I have seen. I will say I have seen. I actually have seen some growth in him with his communication style. What do you think? Do you think that Zay has grown? And then also with her, I don't see her as being quite as controlling. She's aware of it now, and she seems to be willing to allow him as the man to make his come to his own conclusion. What do you think?
Well, I think the way he proposed showed a lot of growth. I'm not sure if we're there yet, um, but I think the way he proposed to her, how he took the time to be creative and plan it. I mean, whether it was the greatest thing on earth, that's a matter of opinion. Okay, but for him, that's a huge step. The way he did that, and took the time to do it. So I see growth there with him for sure.
You want to read what our moderator has to say about the woman's fear?
Oh, it's never the woman's fear if I'm in the room. Don't worry. Really? Really, Monique?
Right, exactly.
Oh, goodness gracious. So she on my side.
Well, that's typical for Monique. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how she's gonna feel in another month or two, but okay.
That's my girl there. That's my girl there.
Uh. But but you know what? I have to agree with Jasmine about something though. Because Jasmine in this session with Dr. Stacy though, she does begin to see and admit, to Dr. Stacy that how she played a big role in this. That their issues as communication as a couple because she really wasn't standing on telling him advocating for herself about what was going on, how she felt when his friend cursed her out and said he would lay hands on her, and then Zay basically allowed this man to come back into their home where she was. So
Mhm.
she now feels that she knows that she has a voice. She has to use it because nobody can be assumed to be a mind reader, especially not a man, right?
Yeah.
So you have to tell men, you have to tell people how you feel. You have to let them know. And also the other thing I thought was really interesting was that she found out that Dr. Stacy affirmed that arguing is not an issue. Arguing is actually a good thing as long as you do it fairly. as long as the couples do it fairly, they actually can learn about each other through their arguments. Like what is the problem, what is the issue, and how can we resolve it? That's fine.
And the only way to have a fair argument is each person has to see their junk and take accountability for their junk. If you're with somebody 3 years and you living with them and you see them every day, their habits, their mannerisms, their attitudes, you're looking at this every day. So if you come to them after a couple of years or 3 years or whatever and say, listen, I've been watching you, I think you need to work on this and that or this and that, and they go off on you, why would you go off on the person when they've been watching you do this stuff for 3 years and they coming from a place of love to have you correct these things so you can move forward productively? Why would you attack them for doing that?
That's true.
I mean, there's some credibility when you've been watching somebody for 3 years do the same stuff.
Okay. And so we see in the next scene, Zay has planned a very beautiful romantic evening. Rose petals on the floor, on the table, candlelit. It's in the evening, so we can see that the sun is setting, and you can see the skyline. They're up very high wherever they are in this restaurant, and he's basically hired the restaurant, closed it out for just the two of them. So it's just the two of them in this room, right?
Very romantic setting.
Very romantic setting. And like you said, I have to give him credit. You're right. He did put a lot of effort. It appears that he put a lot of effort and thought into planning this. And, he got really serious with her. And then the two men, I guess that worked there, they were able to pull back the curtain that said "Marry me," and he had the ring in his hand, and he did the proposal. Mm-hmm. And of course, like most women, she got teary eyed and nervous and all excited all in the same time, and she said yes. She said yes.
Right.
Any more thoughts about that proposal or about her saying yes, or were you not surprised?
That doesn't surprise me. She wanted the proposal, and like I said, I'm surprised in him how he planned it all out and did everything that he did to do the proposal. So I'm not surprised she said yes. She been waiting for this moment. She got it. There's still some work to be done, obviously, because there's always going to be work to be done. Marriage is not easy. Relationships are not easy. So there's always work to be done. So I'm curious, down the road, as we discussed last season, I'm curious to know what Otis and Shalon is doing. So there's always work down the road, and we just have to wait and see. Time will tell.
Time will tell. That's true. So as we move forward, Ricky and Kat, they go out to dinner to talk about the process that they've just been in. They both seem very excited about the possibilities. He's telling her that they're in a brand new honeymoon stage, which I thought was a very interesting choice of words. He says that he's on cloud 9. And then he looks at her and she's all excited and all wrapped up and ready to go to say yes. And then he says, we should probably hold off for a while.
The whole room just went dark, Aubrey. And the air came out the balloon, the ball hit the floor. I mean, everything just went left when he did that, because you can see the look on Catherine's face. She's expecting him to take that next step after everything they've been through. Okay. Mm-hmm. She was this close to picking Marcus and chose not to pick Marcus.
Big mistake.
Okay. Big mistake. Okay. To give him one last shot to step up and man up. And he still didn't do it.
But how he gonna man up? But I gotta interrupt your rant. How's he gonna man up with them little boy plaits in his head? How's he gonna man up? Tell me.
It's time to get a real man's haircut. So, but it's like you see the wind go out of her sails at that point. Because she's like, the look on her face is like, what did I do? You know what I mean? Because if you're gonna work on this together, then get engaged and work on it. That's what all this is about. So by the time the wedding day comes and the marriage comes, you're ready. I don't understand what he's doing.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. Read what Monique said.
What is Modi doing now? I would have used my butter knife to cut one of those twigs. Ricky said, well,
Exactly.
well, the butter knife ain't sharp enough.
Then I would have take out my manicure scissors and cut it.
Oh my goodness! But you talk about dropping the ball, Aubrey. I mean, he just that's it for me. And when we get to talking about the first part of the reunion next week, I think Marcus got something for her, and we'll get to that.
We're gonna get to that in just a second, but yeah, but like really, yeah, Dee, I want her to choose herself for real. Absolutely, it's time for all of us women to choose ourselves because, no good for nothing, brother. Nope, that ain't it. That ain't what's up. But
I don't, I don't think he's just a no good guy. I just think he's immature, and he got to
yeah,
grow up and do some healing.
yeah, but I'm speaking in general now. I'm speaking in
Right.
general about these good for nothing brothers that are out here. But yeah, but as far as Ricky specifically, no, I don't think that he has evil intent. But what I do feel like though, I do feel that Ricky knew all along that he wasn't. He knows he's not ready for marriage. He keeps trying to convince himself. He tried earlier in this episode to convince the doctor, but he knows he's not ready. That's why he can sit there and say, well, most women wouldn't deal with me because I don't have all XYZ in place. Well, yeah, because you don't have XYZ in place, you should never be making a promise of marriage to a woman at this point. Wait until you have XYZ in place before you bring up marriage. Because here's the thing about this, and this is where I was going to say, here's the thing about the sad part about this, and this is where he is actually kind of, I have to maybe reverse myself and flip flop. He may be a good for nothing brother because why? Kat says in this same scene in this episode that he promised her if she moved from Dallas and came down to Atlanta where he was, that he was going to marry her. So what doesn't make him a good for nothing brother? Why make promises that you can't keep, that you know you can't keep? Why make those
because the thing again, fear of losing her, and also too, a lot of people do this, and it's a very selfish thing. And a lot of people do it. He
Yes.
don't want her really, but he don't want nobody else to have her.
Wait a minute. So what makes you think that he doesn't really want her? What makes you say that?
He won't marry her. You ask a woman to if you ask a woman to relocate,
I would never have done it without a ring in the first place.
you see what I'm saying? Relocate, moving with a bunch of his family. Okay, run his kids back and forth to ball games. She doing wife stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like he just like for her to be around. He like her presence, but he don't really want her. And I think he's not mature enough just to tell her that. Because I think he's afraid not just to lose the lady in his life, but I think he's also afraid to lose his friend. He's kind of torn to me. And she got to release him from that agony and go about her damn business.
Right. Because we could never be friends. When I seen that he did that, we could never be friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could never be friends because what you're not going to do is play games with my heart. That's what you're not going to do.
Because remember when they had that big blow up on scene? She said, "You're not gonna sit up here and lie. You ain't never ran your kids to no ball, your son to no ball
She
games."
sure did. She sure did say that because she said she was the one that did all of that, and
Right.
I believe her. I believe her.
So she doing all this wife stuff, but you won't make her a wife. So he dropped the ball big time. So if Marcus come next week and take her off stage, Ricky deserve what he
I would
get.
be sauntering right off stage with him. And you know what? In the back of my head, it wouldn't matter if we got married or if it didn't work out because you know what? It's time for Catherine to go back to Dallas. She should have never left without a ring. Why are you leaving your safety of your home? Why are you leaving the comfort of your home? Why are you leaving the safety of your clients, your paying clients that was keeping your business going and keeping your livelihood to come down to come down to Atlanta? I don't like Atlanta. Anybody know me knows that. I went one time, like my mama used to say, I ain't leave nothing there, so I don't never have to go back. But anywho,
don't insult our Atlanta family. We love you, Atlanta family.
we love you. We love the family, but I don't like the city. But anywho, why does she go down there from Dallas where she doesn't have any clients and no livelihood to be with a man that's broke that can't afford a wife and children. Like, really?
Mm,
What?
mm,
We got to live in your parents' house? What? Say what? I'm doing
mm,
what? And I'm 30
mm,
something plus too? Oh
mm,
no. Come on,
mm.
Catherine. So I blame this on Ricky, but Catherine has to take her, like you said, accountability. Catherine has to take her share of the blame in this too, because what person goes down somewhere? That's like say you got a job in Dallas, a good paying job, and you're happy with your job, right? Somebody courts you down in Atlanta and they say, well, you come on and you come work for us, and this is what it's going to be. You mean to tell me you're going to go down there without a written contract, signed written contract and documents stating such that this is what they're going to pay you and this is going to be your bonus and all this other kind of jazz? You mean to tell me you would do that, Alex?
And get a deposit to help you move. They got to do all
Right.
that.
Right.
O-
So this is
Okay.
why I'm saying where women fall down with love, this whole love jazz. You gotta, okay, you want to believe in love and the fantasy and the myths of love, then believe in loving yourself more than you love the other person until they're committed to you, till they're fully committed to you. Love yourself more than them. That's what you gotta love.
But see, we spoke about conventional wisdom a few times in this episode, and that is something that a more mature, older woman would never have done. See, Catherine's still too young to understand that. She's still being led by her heart, not with her mind, not with her brain, because she don't have the experience that a woman maybe 45 plus, 50 plus would have. And say, oh, hell no, I'm not going down there. You ain't put a ring on my finger. You know, that's the difference with living life. They say experience is the best teacher.
I,
Unfortunately, that's true most times. You
yeah,
know,
I agree. You're right. There's some things we learn from living life, but I disagree with you on this. I disagree with you that there aren't a lot of women in their 30s that wouldn't have known better. My daughter would have known better. A lot of women in their 30s. Now, I'm not talking about young women in their early 20s, but even a lot of women in their late 20s, they would have known better. They would have known better because we've seen. Let's go back a minute. Let's review this. What have we seen Catherine doing at every session this season? What's
what
the one thing we've seen her do at every session this season with the couples counseling? She's cried.
crying, yeah, crying.
Catherine is not well.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine is not well. And this is me saying this, okay? This is in my opinion. Catherine is not well. So because she's not well, she's not making good decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine needs to sit down on somebody's couch and work all that out. But before she left her hometown of Dallas, Texas, to come to Atlanta, what? Atlanta? Texas is booming bit bigger than Georgia is. Like what? I'm gonna leave Dallas to go to Atlanta? Why? Why? On a would be promise. That's just like getting back to Zay and Jasmine. That's just like Jasmine would leave if she were living in Dallas. She would come down to Atlanta for a promise ring. That's stupid. That's not
Yeah.
wise. That's not wise.
Well, again, we can go back and forth with what age woman would know better and which age woman wouldn't. But I'm
It's
for
not about
sure.
age. It's about maturity and being well. And like I said, I feel like Catherine, in her right self, she probably would have not went down there. But Catherine is not well. And like to your point though, too, they've been friends for all that time. And for her, apparently, she put a lot of weight on that when she shouldn't have. When she
Mhm.
shouldn't have.
Well, I've been saying for the last few weeks that Catherine's very fragile. That's why she cries so much. She's
Right.
very fragile, and if somebody's not careful, she gonna have a nervous breakdown. She really got to get this thing under control. You know, and again, what I was getting ready to say is we can go back and forth with whether a woman in their upper 20s or mid 30s is mature enough. Whatever, that's an individual thing. But you can guarantee that most women 45, 50 plus would know I'm not relocating without a real commitment of an engagement ring and a marriage because when your heart is involved and you young and you think love is your oyster and all these different kind of things, you will make a different decision as opposed to a 50-year-old woman would make. You just will make a different decision.
We've got more stuff. We've got more stuff. Let's look at that too. We've got more stuff. Most of us in our 40s and 50s have homes. We have businesses. We have a job with security. We got jobs we've been at for 20 plus years, 15 plus years.
Grown
Like I said,
children.
and grown children or maybe even grandchildren. But Catherine is not well. I go back to that. She's not well, but still, all in all, I don't know who Catherine. You get some of these people that come on these shows, and what was the thing that we saw in this session? Go back to earlier in this episode. Catherine and Ricky do not listen to sound reason. So when you got people, two people that don't listen to sound reason, they go off and they make dumb decisions. They make unwise decisions, and that's what both of them have done.
Basing their decisions off emotion and not logic, because
Exactly.
they're being led with their heart and not with their minds.
What did you think about the prelude for next week's for the reunion? Because I saw, what's that guy's name?
Jacoby?
Starts with a yeah. Jacoby. I was gonna say it starts with a J. Jacoby. Jacoby like went into like a trance talking about women should know better about having babies, about using birth control. I was like, well, dang, somebody must have hung him up somewhere.
And did you notice too?
He must have got caught out there without a magnum on or something. What's going on?
And did you know when Jacoby was going on his rant, and Jasha almost got up out his seat for a minute? If you notice, I don't know if you caught that.
I caught it. You don't want to play. You don't want to play with Jasha because Jasha ain't playing about his woman. He love that woman. That much we do know. He ain't playing about her. Don't play about her either. But what I could see now, maybe it's a trick of editing, but it seemed to me. And then this whole rant that he went on about women should know better about having babies and women without children do better. Well, I don't know. Oprah don't have any children as far as I know, and she's done real well. But then again, Rihanna's got a baby on the way and another baby. Did she just have that second one? And she's a billionaire too. So I heard of this lady called Beyonce. She seems to be doing pretty good. Plenty of women out here have children, are doing well. They are well paid, they are well educated, and they're successful in every right. So I don't know what he was ranting about, but if you really want to be worried, you need to be worried about your brothers out here that's not going to school. That's what you need to be worried about, sir.
But I think if you really ask a guy like Jacoby with his narcissistic tendencies and his ego and everything like that, he would say Beyonce, Rihanna, they're exceptions to the rule. That's what he would think. That's what he would say.
Well, you know what? And that's something he did say, because what was that line he used? He said, I built myself up that I don't have to deal with a certain type of woman, a woman that's got children. And you know what? That's his right. That's his right. I stand behind his right to choose, just like I stand behind Ebony K. Williams' right to choose whether she wants to date a bus driver or not.
But you know what?
I'm for it. If he listen. If he like it, I love it.
Yeah, but listen, his choice should not give him the right to put down a woman who has kids. Just like Ebony K. Williams don't have the right to put down men that are bus drivers.
I think your mic got muted. I think your mic got muted. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, they get muted. You don't want to hear it.
Yeah. No, it's your truth, sir. Just remember that. But in any case, guys, but what did you think about Marcus? So Marcus gets up while he's on the stage when they get to the Cat and Ricky segment. Marcus gets up with the ring box in his hand, and he walks over to Catherine, and he says, "I want to give you something here. You can take this." Because I'm thinking it looks like he's about to propose. What do you think?
Well, I hope it's not a promise ring.
I don't think so. Marcus don't strike me as no promise ring kind of fella.
But I think that if that's an engagement, I think Catherine need to get up, leave with Marcus, and have a serious conversation.
Right on out. I would make sure I shook my hips as hard as I could. I might even break. I'd be like, "Yeah, baby. Oh yeah." I'd be putting on a performance for old boy back there with the twigs in his head.
Because he had his opportunity, he dropped the ball, and he's gonna hurt himself again. He claims he had his heart broken before; it's gonna be broke again because he's not doing what needs to be done to help Catherine through these issues. He's not doing what he needs to be done. He's not stepping up as the leader she want him to be. Leaders are born; they're not made. She's trying to make Ricky a leader, and he's not. You know what I mean? And Marcus is more of a leader. Marcus is a leader. You can see the total difference in those two men. Catherine wants to be led, but she also needs to be healed as well.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Oh, okay. What is Monique Beckett talking about? She been over here talking about maybe it's a key like Clifton gave Joy on Ready to Love. She needs to get out of Ricky's compound. That's
But you,
right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
but you know what? Y'all can get on Clifton all y'all want. They married now. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah, yeah. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying on Love and Marriage DC. These people are married now. But you know what? This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun. We also saw what is it, Zay, and when they came to Zay and Jasmine, when what's the lady's name? Egypt Sherrod asked Jasmine, was she ever worried or concerned? And she said, yeah. And
Mhm.
poor Zay, he looked so hurt. He looked so hurt. He looks so hurt.
I don't know why. I don't know why you've been playing with marriage with her for 3 years. Look, if you don't want to get married, don't say anything. But for 3 years, you've been going, yeah, marriage sounds good. I think I'd like to be married one day. We should get married one day. I mean, what are you talking about for 3 years? But never went out and got a ring, never proposed to her. You playing with it. So why should she now think that he's serious?
And this is a thing too. Why did he bring it up? Like she said, 5 times. She said he brought it up in front of other people. He brought it up in public. But my thing is, again, this is where we women have to take accountability of choosing our destiny and our fate, right? um why isn't marriage, if you guys are actually truly marriage minded and he is marriage minded, why isn't he having conversations on a regular about, when we get married, this is how we're going to structure our taxes, this is what we're going to do, this is where we're going to live, where would you like to live, do you want to stay here in my place, do you think we should put our funds in together and get a bigger place, all of these things are conversations, like you say, all the time. You get married, you don't just, it's not all about he's just going to propose to you on one magical day. Marriage takes planning. Marriage takes counseling. If you're going to serious about getting married and staying married, you need to be probably going to see a marriage counselor, at the very least a church clergyman who has experience with it, where they can sit down and walk you through all the questions, because there's things like life insurance, all types of things and questions that need to be answered. If you have children and he has children, all of these things need to be answered about who's in the wheel, all of these important things that are the business side and the contractual and the legal side of marriage, because marriage, we know, is a covenant under God, but there is, like you always try to say, there is a business side to it, and that is true. But marriage, true marriage, is a covenant under God. That's what a real marriage is. All the rest of it, all that legal stuff, that's the earthly legal stuff here on earth, between each person, each couple, and the state. But true marriage is a covenant under God. That's what marriage really truly is.
And people need to get a grip on that and stop playing with it then.
Yeah. Well, you got to have two people, like going back to what the wise man said, Joya's dad. You got to have two people on the same page.
Equally yoked.
There you go. There you go. And you said it. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. And Alex, he's not going to say that he loves anybody. He's just going to say goodbye, or else his mic is going to be cut, and it's going to be cut permanently.
You might as well mute it now. My girl Monique King said me tonight.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next video, guys. Love you.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Hypocrite.